Week 20 was a quiet week at the house and saw no construction. Instead, I spent the week reading through Wiring Simplified, the 45th edition by F.P. Hartwell. I was fortunate enough to be able to spend a few days house-sitting with Charlie at his relative's house in Boulder, which proved to be a beautiful study location. This also happened to be the weekend we got 12 inches of snow across Colorado. Charlie and I kept joking that this is what it will be like when my house is finished. We're really looking forward to finishing the project. No part of my video is a substitute for Wiring Simplified, and you should purchase and read this book for your own needs. I will be rewiring my entire home, installing a new service meter, a new breaker box outside, and a 100 amp remote panel in the garage. This video is not comprehensive and will touch on aspects I found interesting and relevant to my project. And remember kids, don't try this at home. Chapter 3 shows how electricity is measured and how you are billed for its use. Most of Saturday was taken up by Charlie and I enjoying the house and getting settled in. We took the dog on many walks outside and enjoyed cooking a steak dinner. I particularly like the spice drawer in this house, something I will now incorporate into my kitchen. These electronic salt and pepper shakers were really cool too. Not bad for a couple of guys. The snow really started coming down Saturday night. Sunday morning, we were greeted by over 12 inches of the stuff, and the dog we were watching loved playing in it. Now for a full day of study. I gathered important resources like this chart for my table saw and other appliances so I could make sure my circuits can handle their load. Chapter 4 discusses choosing appropriate wiring. These tables are really helpful in determining the gauge of wire that will be needed for the length of run and ampacity of the circuit for both 120 volt and 240 volt circuits. Note that the one-way distance for 240 volt at the same ampacity is a little less than double the distance of that for 120 volt. The code minimum for 120 volt home wiring is 14.2 AWG, but I'll be using 12.2 for less voltage drop and better future-proofing. I'll also be using 10.3 AWG for my 240 volt circuits, and in one location, 8.3. The book covers in detail techniques and tools for safely wiring connections to meet code. Chapter 5 is important, figuring out how many circuits you need and the code requirements for each. Suggestions are given on how many of each type of circuit are needed. For instance, each bathroom needs its own 20 amp circuit, and almost all breakers now need to be arc fault circuit interrupters. Chapter 6 discusses how to wire circuits, such as two-way circuits and the difference between wiring in parallel versus series. Chapter 7 is all about grounding and its critical safety importance. Around 6 o'clock, I took a dinner break, taking note of a few more kitchen mainstays that I'd love to have in my own home. Remaining chapters will be discussed in a later video, including Chapter 8, the service entrance, Chapter 9, outlet and switch boxes, Chapter 10, basic wiring procedures, and Chapter 14, appliances. Some chapters I don't think I'll need to learn, such as modernizing old wiring, or Chapter 16, electric motors, which is all about big industrial motors in shops and farms. Snow is still coming down Sunday evening. Monday greeted us with clear skies for the first time in days. This home's location outside of Boulder provides stunning views in every direction. My neighbor sent me these photos of my house Monday, since I was still in Boulder. Finally, on Monday night, I headed back to my house to clear the driveway, and I met my other neighbor, Brad, who helped me shovel my driveway for a bit. The snow was so wet and heavy, I actually bent a shovel handle. It took me almost an hour and a half to clear the driveway and the sidewalks. Thanks for joining me for a week of electrical study. Next week, in week 21, the rest of the new windows arrive. We'll see you then.